Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and this is the first live stream that I'm doing for my viewers and subscribers. So in this particular stream I will be showing you how to create a clone of Google search page. Okay, so please join me, and if you have joined the stream already, do not forget to hit the like button, and if you have anything to say, please feel free to put those in the chat box. Okay, so here you can see on the screen, this is the final product. So it looks pretty much like your actual Google homepage, and if you type any keyword here, let's say games, and hit enter, it will take you to the Google page here. So since this is a bit off here, I think there is something wrong with the CSS, but we will fix that later. Okay, and to speed things up, right, what I've done, I have created an empty project here, empty Angular project, and loaded up in my IDE. This is the new project running here. So the first thing that I will do here is add Angular material. Okay, so I go to my terminal, then go type here, let me just remove everything. So I go to the Angular material website here, copy the command and paste it, hit enter. So give it few minutes, and while it's doing that, the API that we will be using to search Google's database is this one. So you can search for custom search JSON API in Google. You will get to this page. Make sure you sign in with your Gmail account or Google account, and once you do that, you can scroll down here and click on get a key thing. Okay, so give me a minute. It's asking for a team. Let's say India team. Yes. Okay, so you can create a new project here or select from an existing project and generate the key. So I already have that information available and or saved in a notepad. So let me open that here quickly. Okay, so this is the API key that I will be using, and for any free sessions, you can read here that any custom search is allowed only till 100 queries per day for free subscription. If you want to perform more number of searches, then you need to upgrade your plan. Okay, then you click on the using REST section here. So this is the format of the URL. So it's querying the Google APIs.com custom search endpoint, and it needs your API key and the customer ID with the keyword that you are looking for. Okay, perfect. So once that is done, my Angular dependencies have been installed successfully. Now what I will do, I will generate few components. Okay, so as you can see here, this section is divided into multiple components. So I have a header section, a home page here, then a results page, a search box, all those things. Okay, so let's quickly do that. So I will be using the Angular CLI to help me out with it. So I'll type ngg for generate, c for component, and I'll put that put everything in a components folder. So the first one will be my home component. Okay, click. Okay, it's done. My app module has been updated as well. Second one is a result component. Okay, and the third one will be my search component. It will be used as a generic component to hold the HTML or markup for my search box. Okay, because I need the same search box on my results page as well. Okay, cool. So now if I show you, this is my project directory, this is my root component, app component. I'll open this and remove everything from here, which will get rid of this default page. Okay, as you can see. Also here I will be using the router outlet. Okay, so everything will be handled by this router outlet directive or selector, you can say. So I need to import the router module from Angular router in my app module here. So my IDE does that automatically for me. So make sure you go to the import section and import the router module. Also here I know I will be using the mat icon module, okay, to display these small icons. Okay, so I'm gonna import that as well. Also here let me quickly create the routing file. So that will be another module here. So I'm using the Angular schematics here to do that. And guys, please don't forget to hit the like button whenever you join the stream, and I really appreciate that. So back to work. Module, I want it to name as app routing module, and I will use the flat keyword here. Click OK. So it's generating a new module. This is the command to generate a module, and using the flat keyword or switch, it will not create a separate folder. It will put it inside the currently selected folder. So routing module is here. What I will do, I'll create a constant by the name of routes, and this will be of type routes, which will be imported from Angular router. This will be an array, and here I'll import router module again, and I'll use the for root method and pass in the routes object. Okay, but if you remember, we already imported router module in app modules. We need to remove it from there, and instead I will be using app routing module there. Okay, so in the imports you use router module, and in the exports also make sure you export the router module so that the other modules know about it. So in the routes we will have couple of routes only. The first one is your default route, okay, and the other one will be your results route. So for the path I'll use an empty string. That's a default string or default route, and the component I will be using home component. Okay, for the second route I will be creating the results route here, and the component will be the result component. I see people have joined the session. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for joining the session. Really appreciate your time. So please bear with me. This is going to be a long one, I guess, and hope you guys will like it. Okay, so with this in place, we can already check that here. So if I refresh it, okay, and I can also go to my results route here. So okay, let's check that. So we have router outlet here, and in the home component, what do we have? We have home works, so it should be displayed here somewhere. Let's see, h1, welcome to home. To go back to the home component. So this should be for root router module, and I must export it as well. So router module, and here I imported it. Okay, let me quickly stop the server and restart it. It's giving me some errors there because I did not restart it after adding the Angular material. So I'll use npm start, and I have simply modified the npm command here in my package.json from ngserve to listen to a particular port with this port switch here. All right, so if you want to run two servers simultaneously, make sure you choose a different port. Okay, that's about it. So let it compile, and we should see the h1 tag here on our home page, and give it a few more minutes. Thank you guys. I see few more people have joined. Thank you so much for the love and participation here, and please do not forget to hit the like button. Okay, so while it's doing its stuff, let's quickly move on to the home component, and let's put some stuff in there. Okay, so what do we need? We need the a div with the class of home container. Maybe you can name whatever you want, and inside this I need a header section and a main section. Okay, so for the header I'm gonna use the header tag, and just to show that this is working, I'll put a h1 here, save the changes and see. Fresh. Okay, it says working, so everything is back to normal now. I can remove it. So inside my header tag, right, I need a couple of anchor tags. First one is for the Gmail, and the second one will be for images like what we have in Google. So this will point to google.com/images, and if I save the changes, you'll see a couple of links here. Okay, so we need to style them like these. Okay, and but before we do that, I need to put few more items here under the head section. So the other one will be mat icon. This is the Angular material icon that which is available in the Angular material package that we imported. Okay, so this icon takes a name. So for the name, you can either refer to the official Angular material docs, or you can search here Angular material icons. Okay, so this is the article. It's a very handy article that gives you a list of all the icons that it supports. Okay, along with the code. So for this one, I will be using the icon named apps. Okay, which looks like this. Okay, so if I go back here, this is my icon, and thanks Amit, thanks for joining, thanks Rohit, Akshay, appreciate guys. So the next one is a button with the text of sign in. Yeah, it's a lowercase I. And in the main section, I'll use a main tag here. Okay, and the first one will be my Google image, this image. Okay, so for that I will be using a regular img tag with a source of assets slash Google logo. So I have copied that logo in my assets directory here, as you can see. And for the alt tag, let me put logo here. So we're gonna design these using the style sheet or the scss file. So we have a scss file for the home component. We will use that to style the component. Next, we need a div to hold our search form or search input box, input field rather, I'm sorry. So I'll name it search box here, and I'll use a form tag without any action attribute. So this form tag will hold my app search component. So this is the component that I created for the search form or the search input. Okay, so I will reuse it in my other page as well. So let's keep it that way as of now. And just below the search form, we need another div to show the buttons. So I'll name the class as g buttons, and the first one will be Google search. The next one should be I'm feeling lucky. So this has a type of submit, or sorry, button, because my submit button will be inside this app search component. Okay, so if I save the changes, and you can see search works, it shows here because we haven't put anything in the search component. So let's quickly go there and quickly create a form element inside that. Okay, so I'll put a div with the class of search bar, and it will have an input field, the type of text. Okay, and I'll put some properties here or attributes. First one is a name attribute. I'll name it search term. Then I'll use Angular forms and banana in the box syntax for a two-way binding. I'll bind it to a variable. Okay, that I'll name the variable current value, current term value. Okay, so this variable I need to create in my TypeScript file. I'll do that in a moment. So name, and also I'll bind the value attribute to the current term value variable. Okay, so let's create a field here, and this will be an input field. Okay, so this will be an input field. I'll use the input decorator here so that I can pass in the value from my parent component. All right, now if you go back here, and you can already see here on the right hand side that I have the text field here, and I'm getting an error just because ng model needs the forms module to be present. So I have to go to the app module and import the forms module there, save it, and the error should go away, like you see. So below the input field, I need another mat icon with the name search outline. It'll give me that magnifier icon there, and a button of type submit. Okay, without any text in it, but I will give it a style tag and set it display property to none, because I don't want to show this button here in the form. So save the changes, and next what we need is the styling. Okay, so the styling is very very much not appealing. So let's quickly style the home component. Go to the home component.scss file here, and I'll first target the parent element, that's the home container. Okay, so with a dot home container, and then I'll set the height to 100 view height, the whole area, basically the width to 100 view width units. So these are new units that have been introduced in CSS3. Okay, so, and I'll set the display property of the whole container to flex, and as soon as I do that, everything will line up horizontally. Save the changes. You see everything has moved horizontally. Next, instead of horizontal, I want them to line up vertically, so I'll choose the flex direction as column. Okay, and I'll align the items to center and set the overflow to hidden. Also set the box size into border box. Now I'll target all the anchor tags inside this home container, and since I'm using scss, I can nest styling like this. If you're using css, make sure you style it like this: home container anchor. So once it compiles, it will give you this equivalent code, okay, in the end. So this helps me to code in a better manner, so I always use scss instead of css. All right, never mind. So let's continue. So the text declaration, you see by default every anchor element here has an underline here. I don't want that, so remove that underline and set the color to 727272. So that's a light gray color. Okay, now let's target the header section. So the header, I want it to contain a width of 100%, to expand 100%. Also, I'll make this a flex container as well, although it's a flex element, but you can always make that as a flex container too. So as soon as I do that, hit save, so everything lines up. I'll give it a padding of 20 pixels all across. Save it. From the margin left, we'll say auto align items. So it will align the items within the header flex container. Center, and for the justify content, I'll use flex end. So it will push all the elements to the right hand side. You can see. Now I'll put some margin between these elements so that they look nice. And hey guys, thanks for joining. I see a few more participants, so please do not forget to hit the like button, it really helps. So for the font size, as I was saying, for the font size I will use 14 pixels here, and inside header I'll target all the anchor tags. Those are these two anchor tags, Gmail and images. So the color will be 272727. It will give me somewhat of darker gray here. Okay, and I will use the asterisk selector. So I'm targeting everything inside the header using these two selectors. So choose everything inside the header, so basically these four elements. Okay, and put a margin right of around 18 pixels to evenly space them out. Perfect. Next we have the button. Need to style that as well. Let's target the button element. I'll set the outline to none, background color, set it to 4386 FA. So this is the color that I used here. I have a extension here, an extension which gives you the color value in hex. So copy it and then use it in a code. It's a really handy tool. Make sure you install it. So next, background color, we have border. I don't want any borders, so border none. Padding, for the top and bottom I want 7 pixels, and left and right I will be using 15 pixels. Color, the text is white. Font weight, I want to use bold. And font size, let's use small. And margin right, I'll use 40 pixels just for the button. So if I save the changes, you notice this is the final result. And inside the button I want to change the cursor to a pointer so that you see a hand icon whenever you hover on this button like this. Okay, next is the matte icon, this icon. So let's go out of the button section, target the matte icon. You can give it a class if you want, but I'm simply targeting the element itself. So for this I only want to give it a color. Color will be 727272, the same gray color. Perfect. So my header ends here. Let's put a comment here, header ends. Next is the main section. For the main, I want to give it a top margin top of around 130 pixels, and again I'll make it a flex container with a flex direction of column to line things vertically. Align items center. So if I save the changes, here it goes. Next I'll target the image, that's the logo basically. I'll give it a width of 272 pixels. So these are the values that I tested and tried, and it works well. Next is the search box. Okay, so for the search box I'll give a width of 600 pixels, and I'll set its position to relative. It's the parent container, so it's basically this div element which is holding the entire form tag. Okay, now it has a width of 600 pixels, and we'll have a margin top of 25 pixels from the logo. There we go. Next I'm going to target the buttons. So we have a class of G buttons there. Next I'll set the display to flex, of course, and this time I'm not going to use flex direction because by default its flex direction is set to row, that is inline styling or side by side, and that's exactly what I want. I'll use justify content and set it to space between. Okay, so for the buttons I'll give it a margin top of 30 pixels and set it position to relative. There we go. So inside this div I have buttons, if you remember. So let's target all the button elements and set the border to none, outline to none, padding 10 pixels top and bottom, and 20 pixels left and right. Margin right will be 10 pixels, so they have a little bit of gap between each other. Font size is 14 pixels. Color that I want to use for the text is the hex code 5F6 368. Save the changes. That's how they look at the moment. I'll change the background color to F4, F4, F4. Right, set the font family here to Arial and sans serif as the fallback font. Again, for the hover, what I want, first of all, the cursor to set to pointer. Next, I want to assign a border of 1 pixel solid C6, C6, C6 with a border radius of 3 pixel, a slight radius when you hover on it, and a box shadow of 0, 1 pixel, 1 pixel with RGB value of black point 0.1. Let's see, if I hover, I get this nice box shadow thing. Okay, so the only thing left is the app search component. So let's go to the search bar.scss file here, and we need to style that as well. So I'll target the search bar here. That's the div which is holding the entire input and icons and buttons. So I'll set its position to relative and a width of 100%, that will be of its container, parent container. So within this I have an input field of type text. Let's set its width to 95%, outline none, save. Okay, that is how it looks right now. I'll set a border of 1 pixel solid light gray and a border radius of around 40 pixels to give a rounded edge here. Font size will be 16 pixels, and the padding I want to give 12 pixels top and bottom and 40 pixels left and right. So this is how it looks in the final version. Next, what do you want? I want to style this icon here, and what I think I should wrap it in a div. Okay, just the icon, so that I can give it some dynamic styling. So I'll create two classes here. One is right icon and the other one is left icon. Okay, because here I want to, on my home page, I want to place the icon on the left hand side of the search bar, but on my results page I want to show this on the right hand side. All right, so for the right icon thing, I'll position this as absolute, and let's put a margin right of 10 pixels. Top, from top I want it to be placed at 27%, and from the right 45 pixels. Color should be 599 for F5. This will only be applicable when you have this right icon class, and the font size should be 21 pixels. Okay, and I'll also give this class of search icon. Okay, so for the left it's pretty much the same thing, copy paste, and instead of right, I'll use left here, and the value will be 15%. Color will be 9AA0A6. It's a light gray color. Okay, if you save the changes, you'll notice. Okay, so it's not applying any styling as of now because I've not used any conditions or any classes here. So what I will use the ng class directive to dynamically assign the right icon and based on some condition here, and left icon again some condition. So for that, I'll quickly go to my search component TypeScript file. I'll put an input field, create an input field of right icon. Okay, so if my right icon is equals to true, then set the right icon, otherwise set it to false. But for the false value, it will be the left one, and the default, I'll put it here, is false. Let's see, this works. There you go. And if I set it to true, you'll notice it jumps to the right and sticks there. Okay, so here I'll target the search icon and give it a font size of, let's say, 20 pixels for both the left and right icons. Okay, perfect. Next is the results component that we have, and for the results component, let's remove this default markup, and we're going to create a container, and we'll have again a header section and a main section here. So for the header, I'm giving it a class of top header. Inside this, I'll have a div with the name top header left and top header right. So in the left, I'll have the logo, img, source will be assets / logo, and for the styling, I want this to show as a cursor as a pointer, because this will send me, whenever you click it, it will send me to the default route. Okay, so I'm using the router link attribute here. So if I save the changes and hit that route and I click it, go back to the home page. So inside my left, below the image, I'll have a div that will say top header left search. It will hold my search component. So inside this, I'll create another div with the name top header left search input, and I'll use the app search component, it's a custom component, and I'll set the right icon to true here, not like this, like this. Set it to a string value of true. Okay, and I need to wrap this entire thing in a form tag so I can submit the data to Google. Also, just below the div here, I will have another div with the name top header left search options, and another options we will have few icons and the settings section there. Okay, so I'm going to quickly copy some markup from my notes to save some time. Save the changes, and if I go back here, I'll have all these icons and names. Okay, this is the left section, and for the right I'm going to copy some more markup here. There's just a couple of anchor tags for the settings and tools. Okay, so for now we have the right section here. The right, I'll use mat icon, name is apps, and a button that says sign in. Simple. Next is the main section here. Let's scroll down, and I'll give it a class of search results. Inside this I'll have a header, search results underscore header. Okay, that'll have a p tag that says about these many results in let's say 0.06 seconds. Save. There it is. Next is I'll create a class, say search results underscore body, and inside the body I'll have an anchor tag. I'll get the href from my JSON response from the Google API, so I'll leave it blank as of now, and I'll get a class of search results body link. This will have my URL, and the second one will have my heading, and this will be my heading. And I'll wrap this in h2 tags heading. Perfect. So after this anchor tag, I'll show the description or the snippet of the search result. For that I'll create a new div, name it create a class of search results underscore body details, and it will be my snippet section. So now it's time to style all these components using the style sheet. So go to your results.scss file, and I can close the other one from here to save some space. All right, So in the results, what do we want? We have the container, right? Home container. Let's check that here. Is it home container or container? So it's only container. Okay, so it's container. Let's set a width of 100%, overflow of X to hidden because we want to scroll vertically, and we'll set a padding of 20 pixels top and bottom and 10 pixels left and right. I'll target the top header here, set a width of 100%, height to auto, and make it a flex container using the display property. Align the items to center, justify the contents to space between, save it, see how it looks. As you can see, the logo, this has gone to the right hand side. Border bottom should be 1 pixel, solid light gray color, that's TFE1, yeah, 1E5. Okay, now inside this I have left and right. All right, so to target left, what I will use, I'll use this scss trick with the ampersand operator. So basically this is equivalent to writing top header hyphen left. I'm basically targeting this class, so this will be replaced by this name. Okay, all right, so margin left, I want it 20 pixels, as you can see here. Again, I'll make this the left div a flex container as well, so everything will be stacked horizontally, and I'll align the items to center vertically. Next, I'll target the image tag. Let's set its height to 30 pixels and width to 92 pixels. Okay, next what we need is, so it has become smaller, and I want this, instead of showing in the middle, I want only this item to go on the top of the container, and for that I'll use the align self property, and I'll use the flex start value here. So you will see it will jump onto the top. Perfect. And I'll give it a margin top, margin top of just 10 pixels to center it with the what do you call this, is the search bar. Okay, next we have the search bar here. Let me check. Inside left we have search, so I'm still inside this left block. I'm targeting that search div. Okay, give it a width of 750 pixels, display flex, flex direction is column, and align items flex start. Margin left of 30 pixels, give some spacing there. Next, I'm going to target the input element. So I have this input element div here. Okay, it will be occupying the whole area, so I'm saying flex 1 with a width of 100% and a margin bottom of 20 pixels. There we go. Let me expand it. This is a bit off. Okay, I can easily change it by going to my what do you call, the search component, and for the right I'm gonna decrease this to 25 pixels, maybe just 5 pixels from right. Or 0. Still not to the end. You can use negative values also. Let's use minus 15 pixels. Oops. Or minus 35. That looks good to me as of now. Okay. This is not responsive because this page is not responsive in your actual Google search results as well, but you can make it responsive if you want using Flexbox. That's not a big deal, but I'll leave it as it is here. So let's close this, go to my results here. So I styled the input section next is my options, so and hyphen options. So let's have a width of 100%. Display should be of course flex. Align items center, and justify contents will be space between, to push it at the very end of the container. Okay, and for the left section I have a left section here inside my options. Remember we created, let me just minimize this, we created this left and right. Yeah, the left is all these small icons and labels. So let's style those, and I'll set that flex display to flex again, and align items to center. So make sure you're targeting the correct selector here. You see, it's not working because we are using the wrong selector here. There we go. So I use underscores instead of dashes. So make sure you are consistent with your naming scheme here. Next we have margin right around 80 pixels, and next I'm going to target all the divs inside the left container and set their display to flex, because they have you can see here they have an icon and a href. So each individual div I'm targeting here. So once I do that, I'll set the align item property to center to line them up. The middle padding, I'll give a little bit of padding of 5 pixels all across. Margin will be 0 from top, from right 10 pixels, and 0 0. So they are evenly spaced. And whichever is the active one, I want to set the border bottom to 3 pixel solid 1A73E8. That's the color code, and the anchor tag will have a color, will have a similar color, this one. Only when you are putting an active class there. So by default my first element in this list has an active class, as you can see here. Okay, so let's go out of the active block, and I'll inside, while still inside the div, I'll put it here basically. And now I'm targeting all the anchor tags and setting the default properties. So text decoration, of course, set to none. Font size 12 pixels. Color 5F6368, and margin left of 10 pixels. So now they are nicely placed. We are still working on the left hand side. The right hand side is still not being touched. Next, mat icons, or icon rather. That's the selector name or selector tag. So font size is 18 pixels. I'll give it a height of 16 pixels and a width of also 16 pixels. Color that I will be using is 89499. So this is how it looks pretty neat to me. Now let's minimize the left section, okay, and we will focus on the right one. So for the right, again, set the display to flex, justify content to flex end, let them be at the end only. If you change it to flex start, they will jump to the left somewhere. So the container is pretty small, so it's not doing anything. Well, that's okay. And I'll target everything inside this right div. Set a margin right property to 30 pixels. Text decoration to none. That will include the anchor tag as well. And set the color to 6368. So save the changes, not here. And if it still doesn't look good, make sure you're using the correct selector or the convention here. Save. There you go. Okay. So now we are done with the header left. So we are still left with this section. Well, I'll keep it at full screen here. Okay, let me make this as full screen as well. So now I want to target the right section. So align self, I'll set it to flex start, because these are all flex items, so they will all have their own align self property. Okay, let me keep it like this. I'll make the container as flex, align items center, so everything lines up. Now I'll style the button, background color 1A1358, border should be none, and border radius, this time it needs a little bit of radius of around 4 pixels. That's it. Next is the padding, 10 pixels top bottom, 25 pixels left right. Let's set the color to white, text color, font weight to normal this time, and font size to 14 pixels. All right, just a sec. Margin right, I'll give it a margin of 40 pixels from the right hand side. Okay, now it's time to style the mat icon. I'll set a color of 7272 0.72, margin right to give some space from the button of 10 pixels. That's it. Next, let's go out of the top header. We have search results container, that is this main container here. So let's put a max width of 700 pixels. I don't want it to span the whole area, just limit it max width to 700 pixels, and I'll give it a margin left of around 150 pixels. Okay, to demonstrate why I did that, I'll give it a border of 1 pixel. You see it lines up pretty nicely with my top content. Okay, let's go back here and go back to the code. I'm gonna remove the border. Next, I'll target the header, that will be a underscore here, underscore header. So margin, I'm gonna give 10 pixels, 0, 20 pixels, 0. So the order it works is top, right, bottom, left, in clockwise direction. Okay, and the color will be gray. For the body, I'm going to target the body link anchor tags, text decoration of none, color of 202124. So we are still working pretty much in the markup. Okay, and we haven't touched the actual code or the API yet. So once we finish this styling, we will work on the API calls. Okay, so text transform, I'll set it to lowercase. Margin bottom will be 5 pixels and display is block. So by default, anchor tags are inline elements, but you can make them appear as block elements by using the display property. And for the heading, so I have search results body heading. I'll set the font size to 20 pixels, line height of 1.3, a color of 1A0 DAB, that's a dark blue color. And on hover, what I want them to appear as text decoration should be underlined only when you hover. So if you go here, fresh, so I need to remove it from here, text decoration none, save. Whenever you hover, you get this underline. Okay, now we have a div with the class of search body details, search body details, this one that has the snippet inside it. Okay, I'll set its color to 4D5156, and I thank all my viewers for joining this session with me, and I request all of them to please hit the like button and share it with your friends if you want. Okay, so once I give it the color, it will look like this, and I'll give another property here. I'll assign the margin bottom property so that the next item will have some gap from the top. So with this done, we're pretty much done with the styling part. Okay, now what we need is to work on the TypeScript files. So I'll quickly create a service here. Let's create a service here. I'll name it search service. I'll use these two flags. So this is the command here in case you want to use the Angular CLI. Okay, it'll have the same result. So this is my service, and here I'll inject private HTTP client, and for this need to import the HTTP client module in your app module file. Okay, once that is done, I'll create a couple of variables in my environment file here. Okay, so one will be my API key, then I will copy from here, paste it here, and the next one will be my CX key, customer key, that will again copy from my notepad and paste it here. You can also put server URL. Let me put it there, so it's still this one. Okay, comma. I've stored everything there in my environment file, and make sure you copy all this data and put it to your environment.prod file as well, because if you when you build this project, this is the file that will be taken into consideration. Okay, save the changes. Now I'll create a couple of variables. URL of type string will be environment from my test environment, and this is my server URL. Next is my API underscore key of type string environment dot API key. This is the way you hide your keys and secrets from the from the code. Basically, customer key, you don't need to give a type here. So environment dot customer key. Okay, with that being said, I'll create a function get search data. This will take a search term of type string and return this .http client. I'll use the get method here, and also this will give me a huge response. Okay, so for that I already created a model here in my notes. So create a new TypeScript file, Google response.model. Okay, I'll simply copy paste the code from there, from my notes, and you can easily generate a model file online as well. So I'll show you how you can do that. So let me open my Postman. I have it here somewhere. So while it's opening, you can go to Google, actual Google page, and search for create interface from JSON online. So I think this is the one. Nope, not this one. Yeah, this is the one. So basically when you send a response, okay, you get this huge when you send a query, you get this huge response. So you can simply copy the response from here and paste it in this section and click on generate. So it'll, and name it whatever you like. I named it Google response. Okay, generate. So now simply copy the code from here, copy to clipboard and paste it in a TypeScript file like this. Okay, it's pretty simple and very helpful, this website. Make sure you bookmark it. Now since I have this type defined, I can go to my get method here. Hang on, get method here. Oops, let me close this and set this to Google response. I need to add the import statement here. Okay, simple, huh? And in the function call, I'll use backtext to write some ES6 code, and I'll use the this.url here. That is the URL, my server URL here. Okay, and for the parameter, let me minimize this. For the parameters, or I can pass additional options here. So in the options, I'll pass on some params, and these will be these params that it looks for: key, then cx, and the query. Okay, so go back to code. I'll name it key. This will be this dot API key, comma cx, this dot cx key, and q is my search term, and the return type will be observable of Google response. It's not an array, it's just one response. In this response itself, we have multiple arrays and other properties. Okay, fine. So that is all regarding the service. Let's close it, and let's first jump on to the home component. So that's our main component here. Okay, so for the home component, what I will do, I will inject the router here, private Angular router. This is the Angular router, and here I have a search form. But okay, let me bind the ng. I need to bind this form using the template directive. So I'll give it a name form, and let's use ng form here for the template driven approach. I'll bind the ng submit event to a function that says search maybe, and pass the form element here, or the form variable here. Okay, I need to import ng form, so quickly do that. Ng form. Okay, so now I want to extract the search term. That's the name I've given to my input field here, search term. From here I want to extract it, and let's say I want to display it in the console. Okay, search term. But you see what, since this is not directly inserted here as a child object, it's actually part of a different component. So if I save the changes and go back here to my home page and open the console, whatever you type here, it will be always be undefined. Okay, no matter what you type. So to fix this, what we need to do, there's a simple fix. You need to go to your search component here, the TypeScript file, under the style URLs. You need to give it a provider, okay, view provider, so that it can propagate its value to the parent element. So under view provider, it takes an array of objects. So I'll use the provide attribute, set it to control container. Okay, this is a special container that is derived from Angular forms, and I'll use existing method or property here. I'll use ng form, that is again derived from Angular forms. So now what I can do, if I go back here, now if I type anything like test, you see I get the value in the console. Okay, anything you type Angular, there you go. Let's close this, close. Here I want to pass the right icon to right icon as false in my home component. Okay, and in my search method, once I get the term here, if let's simply use the router, this router dot navigate by URL. I want to send it to the results page, and I want to send the value as a state object. Okay, because you cannot directly send any data here apart from the route parameters, but if you want to send some data, you can use the state object here, and I'll label it as term, and the value will be search term, and this returns a promise. You can simply change the then block here, doesn't matter. Next you go to the results component. So in my results component, I'll create a variable of results that will be of type Google response. Okay, also I'll create a subscription array which will be imported from RxJS, because I will be storing all my subscriptions, and I'll also implement another interface, that's the onDestroy. So let's quickly implement the onDestroy first. It will be simple. So this dot subs dot map, and so let's start unsubscribe, and the return type is of course void. Okay, so make sure you always unsubscribe from your active subscriptions whenever you're subscribing in the TypeScript file. And I'll also define a term variable here. So in my ng on init, I'll extract the term from my history.state object. This is a default object. Okay, you don't need to import it from anywhere, it's there in your browser. Next I'll assign this dot term equals to term, and I'll use this term here to okay, so if my term is present, right, if term is there, what I will do, I will push a new subscription here, and I'll also need to inject my search service. This is how you use Angular's dependency injection. Okay, so here I'll go to the search service and call the search data method. It needs a term, search term, so you can pass this one or this one, doesn't matter, it will have the same value. So in the subscribe method, okay, so let's get a data of type Google response. Okay, once it gets that, I want to map the results to this data, and now in my component.html file, under the main body here, so on top I don't have anything as such in my main body. The first thing I want to do is display on this main body only if my results dot item, this is the array, okay, if its length is greater than 0. I'm using this question mark as a safe operator so that I will not get any errors in the console if this variable is not defined or not present, or if it's empty. Next, for this about section or the number of results, I'll use string interpolation results dot question mark dot search information. So I have a property search information which has formatted total results field, okay. And you see the benefit of using models is that you get code completion, okay, and that is pretty handy. So here I'll use results again question mark search information dot formatted search time, and we have seconds here in the end. Perfect. And for the results body, I want to loop through all the items, so I'll wrap everything in ng container, the whole of it. And in the container I'll use ng for directive let r of results question mark dot items. This is the array that will have my href, so r dot formatted url, and this one will be again r dot formatted url. The url location is same, and I'll also define a target attribute to blank so that whenever you click it, it opens in a new tab instead of interfering with your current session. The URL, I'll use r question mark dot formatted URL, and for the title here or the heading, we have r dot r question mark dot title, and we are left with the snippet part only, so r dot snippet. Save the changes. Okay, now my API is up and running. Okay, let me quickly disable this for a moment, and I go to my results page. So the styling looks good. Okay, let's go back, and now I'm going to uncomment this and test it out with some real data. Okay, so let's search for Angular, hit enter. There you go, those are the results, and this is derived from Google API. And now you see my search term is not reflecting here. Okay, so for that I need to go here in my search component, and I need to pass the current term value as term. Save. So it's empty initially. Let's check for YouTube. So now you have YouTube here and the data here. You can change it to anything you want. Let's say games. Okay, so this form doesn't work because we haven't used anything here. So form, ng form, and ng submit search form. So basically we're doing the same thing here. we are extracting a value. Okay, ng form import statement, and do it again, and this time it will be search term. Okay, but don't forget to assign the term to the search term, and the type is white, and in the results it's done sending the term perfect. So go back here, or let's say Angular, hit enter, there we go, and this will not refresh the page. You see, I can type anything I want. I can type best email, or no, it's a games. So you can also display images, and you see these many results. And so my model has the images as well. So if you can display images in cards or maybe in different divs, but you can work it on your own. I'm not going to show you that. So this pretty much concludes the session here, and we have successfully created a Google clone which you can deploy to Firebase if you want to. And I can show you this button works. So I can type, let's say, Tesla, click on Google search. Oh, so for this to work, it's a pretty simple thing. Go to your home component and bind the click event to the search function, and pass the same form object. So this object is available throughout your template. Okay, save the changes, Tesla search, there you go. Okay, so with this I'm gonna end the live stream now, and I hope you guys liked it, and please subscribe to my channel, and I'll show you something else in a different stream maybe in future, and let me know how it went and what would you like to see here. Okay, till then, take care and have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye bye.